Folks, welcome back to the NBC Network, the Morocco channel, the Biz World channel, with your host, Hurricane H. New day, new show, new interesting topic, discussion, even location, I would say, because this is, as you can see, my set is different today because I am all the way in one of the best places that I love in the world, hosting this particular show with a terrific person. And we're going to bring you some real nuggets, some real insights here about some important practices, things that you can need in the business world. And also we're going to discuss this as opportunities for our Moroccan youth out there. So without any further ado, I have with me someone who actually just wrote a book, but this expertise is just grandiose, something that we're going to take to the next level. Hicham Amrani. So just on that note, I want to say this. So we have two Hichams here, by the way.
Double H.
We have a double H. So Hicham, welcome to the
trouble.
show. Double trouble. I have a show. It's called Double Impact. This is Double Trouble. How you doing, Hicham?
Good.
Welcome,
very good.
man.
Thank you. Well, welcome to Dubai.
Yeah.
Thanks for hosting me.
Well, I love Dubai. So that's got to be copywriter or something. I don't know. But I really do love Dubai, and you and I have a lot of stuff that we've done together, or similar stuff that we've done in our past life, right?
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've done was working in Disney World, I believe.
Disney World in Florida.
That's another favorite place of mine,
Yes.
and so it was fun. How was your experience there?
I miss it, I have to say. It was one of the best years of my life. Fresh out of college, being thrown out there in one of the biggest businesses in the world at that point and still today. And it was a lot of fun for me. It was a lot of fun, a lot of learning. So coming from Morocco, right after I finished my bachelor's degree in English literature and language, 2 weeks or 3 weeks exactly after that, I found myself in the middle of Orlando, in the middle of Florida. Complete cultural shock, a lot of learning curve, but it was a lot of fun, a lot of learning.
Well, I have to say, I actually use Disney in a lot of my talk shows and even in business, like literally in my career. I mean, I've used it because just like you, I flew in the day of my graduation, literally. So I didn't even attend it. I was in Orlando, and it was, again, a great opportunity. I mean, to work in Disney, that's one of the biggest organizations in the world, especially in tourism, right? And it was just a fun experience. As you said, I was a tour guide, so I had to do a lot of good stuff and talk to people. And that's actually almost what we're going to discuss about, talking in public with a lot of people out there. But it was an interesting, experience. I learned a lot. I was doing the business seminars, whatever they have, the business courses there as well with them. So that was something that stuck with me for life. I've applied some of the things I learned there as well. So, but, that's the past. And, since then, I want you to tell us, just bring our audiences to your journey, because, you gave us just a little bit of, I graduated, I went to Orlando, but let's talk about your journey, the whole thing, and what got you to the work you do today. Because what you do, you help people. You really guide people to be able to stand before audiences and do a great job, communicating, because that's a big deal.
Hicham, as it's funny that I say Hicham, as I'm talking to myself.
Well, most people know me as Hurricane, so that's okay.
One of my best friends actually is Hicham, and so whenever I'm with him, it's always confusing. But as I was growing up, how people, they know what sometimes they know what they want. They want to be a doctor, they want to be this or that. Some of them, they don't know. I knew what I wanted, but not with a name. I just knew that I wanted to work with people. How, in what capacity, I didn't have any idea. But I knew that I wanted to be with people. And that's why, as you know, back then in Morocco, what you get to the high school, you have to choose either science or literature. And to me, it was literature. And I was really bad in math. I was really bad in chemistry.
Let's not go there, man.
Absolutely. But I was good with words, especially with writing, not with presenting. I was good with writing. In fact, most of the time, my essays were I was going to be asked by the professor or by the teacher to read them in front of my classmates. So I finished high school. I went to university. I studied English literature and language. I was just fascinated by this language. Usually Moroccans, they study French. I never had any inclination to study French. I don't know why. Maybe it was because of the teacher, or maybe because there are other things. But I really wanted to study English so badly, and that's what I did. I poured my heart and soul and time and energy. And as a result, I stood out. among the graduation, among my class. And one thing led to the other, and then the Disney people, they came looking for English-speaking Moroccans to come to work in Florida, a one-year contract, as you know, in Epcot Center. And I was proposed by one of my professors, and he said, you have to go and do the exams. And so the exams were easy for me, as you know. I mean, it wasn't extremely difficult exams, but they wanted to know that you are able to speak English and that you communicate to public and you can write and understand when you read it, and which was okay for me because I was at the heart of English on a daily basis, studying things like Shakespeare and all of that stuff. So 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, after I finished my graduation, I found myself in Florida, in Orlando, and there when I started to understand what did I mean or what did I want by working with people. So to me, working with people on a daily basis, tourists, as you know, thousands and thousands of tourists come on a daily basis from all over the world, and we had to communicate with them. We had to explain what Moroccan food is, what Moroccan history is, why the culture, the minaret, the Babujlu door, which I'm from Fez. Yeah. I'm from Fez, and that door, that gate has a lot of history. And so explaining that to Chinese, to Americans, to French, to Mexicans, to people from all over the world, it really was to me one of the most enjoyable moments. But also it taught me a lesson about communication, and which I didn't know at that point. I just knew that it was important to learn that. So after I finished Florida, finished Disney World, reluctantly.
Oh yeah. Nobody wants to live there, right?
Honestly, but reluctantly. The reason I said reluctantly is because I had a better opportunity for me at that point. And I remember my line manager. He said, "You have to go. You have to go to your opportunity. We would love to keep you, give you an extension to your contract, but you have to do," which was a scholarship at Penn State.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
you
can. Yeah.
You gotta go.
As the movie got farther, they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse.
And that's a great offer. I mean, a lot of people will literally kill for that opportunity. I mean,
absolutely. I was one of 15 people applying for the scholarship, and I got that scholarship. And so when I went to him and I said, "Look, I got this scholarship. I really like it here. I'm learning a lot." You learn about hospitality, entertainment, communication, and there was opportunity for growth. But he said, "Go. You're not meant for this. You need to go and discover more." And so off I went to Penn State, did my 2 years in political science, only not to do anything with politics after. It taught me a lot not to do anything with politics in those 2 years. But it was a great learning experience. Very challenging in the beginning, very rigorous, as you know, but I learned a lot as well.
Well, a lot of people have the same dilemma. They take something in school, they never do anything with it, but what they don't realize that stuff stays with them and it applies in real life eventually. You know that you learn some skills, you just don't apply them immediately. Well, it's funny that you mentioned all this stuff, because in the English story that you said there, I'm just like you. I was not a big fan of, we all grew up in French, so cultural French, I would say education, but I also refused to do it. My thesis was in English. I went to the American the American Language Center in Rabat, so I kind of wanted to be a little bit different, not more the French, I guess Moroccan culture thing. So I changed that as well, and that's really what got me into it. I was always like, I wanted to. And when I was actually in the American Language Center, that's funny thing is they had the sign that says, "Would you like to work in Epcot?" And so that was before high school. I'm like, I want that. And that was actually part of my, I've had a couple of interviews where they asked me like how it went, just like this. And I told them that was like my dream, like coming to Florida to work there. And I worked towards it. And what it took to do that, and obviously you had to do the necessary steps. But, it's amazing. But I love what you said about you have an opportunity, you seize it, you move on. By the way, I had the same thing. When I was in Orlando, a lot of people stayed behind. They stayed behind. They didn't want to leave. They just basically, you get an extension, you get a job, and you stay local, and that's about it. You're happy. I'm like, no, I'm going to go to New York. And so I actually called somebody, and I got a job in New York, and I moved to New York, which everybody, you're crazy, you go to New York. Yeah, well, New York is the big city. You can make it there, you can make it everywhere, right? So, I don't know. Today, Dubai, we can say the same thing about where we are today. This is like the new New York, if you, in a way, you can look at it that way, right? But so you went there, you did your political science, and then what was how did you, obviously communication is key, you mentioned that, but what was the next step that got you to where we are today?
So I want to take you back to doing the master's degree. Although yes, I'm not applying the theory and the politics studies on a daily basis. But you know, when you do a master's degree, or when you do a PhD, when you do anything that is outside of your comfort zone, Hicham, the lessons you learn from overcoming those challenges, they stay with you. And I do remember, although it was a nice scholarship, everything was paid. I literally just had to study. I used to teach Arabic as well. I had to teach Arabic for a little bit as part of that deal.
Sweet.
But absolutely,
Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. But I do remember the first semester, 2 or 3 times I wanted to quit. I came to the point where this is extremely hard. Like, I teach 4 hours in the morning, and then I have to study 4 hours in the afternoon. Among students, some of the more PhD students already, who have been in the American education system since they were born, and who have never left academia, so they were very much serious about what they're doing. And here I come, a foreign student with the one year off from school at Disney, where it was fun, but it was a lot of learning, but there was not as rigorously studies as before. And so obviously the natural reaction when a challenge comes sometimes is we want to quit. It's one of the options on the table all the time. And I do remember the third time, to me it was that's it. I can't do this. It was just too much. But it happened. I stayed. I stayed, and with the help of a friend who an American friend we're still friends till today, 25 or 24 years later.
Nice.
And
It's hard to come by these days.
Absolutely. And she just told me just baby steps, just one day at a time. And at that point I never heard that word before. One day at a time.
One day at a time, and one thing at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, and it works.
And I took it and I applied it religiously, one day at a time. I'm not gonna think about Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. This is Tuesday. Let's do this Tuesday. When Wednesday comes, we'll deal with it. And that helped. So after the second semester, it got a bit easier. Then you have the summer break to recoup and to rest a bit, and that's what happened. So after I finished my master's degree, I started a PhD program in London School of Economics in London, and that was an interesting experience.
Other side, okay.
Yeah.
A whole different system.
Moving from the US to the UK. Yeah, I mean, it's English, but it's completely different system, to different cultures, to different mindsets. But for many reasons, I after 6 months, I had to drop out of the program and move to Dubai. I came to Dubai to rest and to visit my brother, and they stayed. He left, I stayed.
Well, we could talk about the Dubai, piece too, but I want to touch on a couple of things you mentioned, because for our audiences and worldwide, and also specifically Moroccan, youth, I mean, there's a lot of things here that they can learn from at least your journey. One is you had hit some hurdles, obstacles, blockades, and whatever it is, and it's a big deal as far as inspiration, and people sometimes they get to that point, they get snagged, I can't do this anymore, they stop. He didn't. Obviously you took a little bit of work, and you had somebody that was your I guess that's something that we always need to look for, which is your entourage, right?
Yeah.
Your support system. You had someone,
voice of reason at that point.
well, exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody, listen, we all have decisions in our minds, right? But
Yeah.
sometimes we don't always make the right decision. Sometimes you want to bounce it off somebody, and you get that. And then when you have someone that can truly give you the right feedback, that helps. So again, for our audiences, whatever it is that you do, you have to literally focus and just don't give up on things. I mean, that's a big thing. We hear this, never give up, right? That's one of the biggest problems that we have, in that people, they just don't take the long run. I mean, they think it's a sprint. I'm going to do it. It's over. It's not. That's not how it works. Life is a marathon. It's a long space. In your case, you had it. I mean, you've tried different things. I mean, you started a PhD program. Not everybody can claim to do that, and it didn't work. You stopped. But even that, see, that's not a failure or anything. That's actually just a transition. It's something that you've decided. You've already gone beyond the average person's educational level, right? But that gave you the stuff. Now, that was your actual, I guess, educational spin, right? Yeah. So now you came to Dubai.
Yeah.
And you kind of came to rest, but you didn't.
Well, I came to rest before to figure out what was going to happen next for me. So he was living here, my brother, and I said, I'll come to see you for a month or a few weeks, and then take it from there. And at that point, I've never been to the GCC area in my life. So I was about 25 years or 26 years, I think. And that's how it happened, which is, I think, the story of 80% of the people living here in the UAE. They come to visit, they like the place. And so I sort of came in when the country was really taking off. So I was really impressed by, the timing was very good, and I was impressed with the project, with the thinking of the leadership, with just basically the energy of the place. It's just a happening place, whether it's Dubai or Sharjah or Abu Dhabi or it's just a happening place, and people are transforming lightning speed, and it's, you can see it, you can literally see it happening in front of your eyes, you know. And so I think my energy just plugged in here, and then he left, and I said, look, I'm staying.
Oh, he actually left.
He left.
You replaced him.
Absolutely.
Well, there's nothing wrong. I mean, listen, you know, but I love, again, what you just said now, it's a very good point for people watching and listening worldwide. Because, I mean, obviously, we broadcast everywhere. So there will be people from the JCC that will listen to this, but obviously the Moroccan, youth, North African youth, the Arabic world, or even like the Americans. And because, I mean, this we're going to discuss deep dive on the actual core of discussion, which is, public speaking. But this is what got you into this journey. But the idea of discovering a place, acclimating to a place, and you've done enough of that. You bounced from, I mean, that's just a cultural shock. I mean, Morocco, U.S., England, Dubai. I mean, that's quite a bit of a flavor that you've actually gone through there. But it's part of who you are, right? That's your makeup, right? You've learned a few things, and I love what you said. You came in just at the literally inception of the new Dubai, the new Emirates, right? And that's another one, because it's really booming. And listen, I came here, this is my fourth time, and I've loved the place, and so I can tell you it's just attractive from
the
different
energy
levels.
is
The energy is different. I mean,
the energy is different.
opportunities are here. I mean, we used to say the American dream, like I had when I was a kid. Now there's something called the Dubai dream. So a lot of people come, the UAE dream. So people are coming here for that reason, and you found it. And I have to say, listen, when we first met, actually, I think here in
a couple of
years ago. It was at the Expo, the Beauty Expo Awards. And that was like, I was already impressed when I met with you and I knew what you did. I mean, that's pretty, listen, I have this thing, and for all Moroccans of the world, we have to be proud of our achievements, and not just the Moroccans, I would say all Arabs, or all people that are successful. Actually, I meet someone that's successful. I do a lot of shows with worldwide, guests, right? They're from different backgrounds and, parts of the world, literally. And you got to be impressed what the journeys of people and how they do stuff, and how inspiring those stories are. But when I met you, I mean, it was just, first of all, the name. Hey, I can't say nothing about that. It's my name, right? So I can take credit, with you with that. But at the same time, the idea that, someone that you see, you meet, and they're doing a great job. And as a matter of fact, I guess a mutual friend of ours who and I know, same thing. We actually were impressed when we were attending the award and he was giving the speech. And I believe you helped with that speech too. So we're going to talk about that. But it was just impressive to see someone that is that had a journey, and I have him on my to do checklist in terms of interviews. So he's coming on board as soon as we get to him eventually. But so the concept here, and we give him credit, right, Mohammed Jariri. But really the concept of when I met you, I was very proud of the work you've been doing. I didn't know that you were writing a book at the time, and so when we met, you're working on this book, and your work is really public speaking. You consult, you teach people how to stand in front of audiences. Now, you talked about sharing your culture with the people of the world, Chinese, Americans at Disney, right? That's actually expressing different things, and standing in front of people, audiences in general. A lot of people are shy, a lot of people are timid. So I'm going to ask this question. A lot of people are afraid of standing in front of people and talking. I mean, it's
the number one fear now.
That's the number one.
It has been, and it's still now.
So let's talk about why, in your journey, in your studies, in your expertise. I mean, this is your world. Why do people have that fear?
There are different reasons why people are shy. I was a shy person, by the way.
Oh, that makes two of us. Trust me. I mean,
absolutely.
we can talk about that.
I grew up a shy person, Hicham, and till today, I don't know why I was shy. So there was not a particular incident that happened to me. Some people I worked with, some of my clients, they had a particular incident at home with their father or mother or siblings, or at school. That to me, there was nothing in particular. It was just a conclusion that I created in my own mind, that I am the youngest of 9 children, Everybody around me was bigger than me physically.
All right.
And at that point, growing up in the 80s in Morocco, the general culture, and I think not just in Morocco, in the entire the oriental part of the eastern part of the world, is the children are to be seen, not to be heard. And so nobody has told me that in particular or to my face, but that was the implication just by the behavior of the adults around me. And so I created a conclusion in my head, unchecked, without anybody. I didn't check with anybody about the conclusion. It just created that my opinion did not matter. My voice did not matter. So whatever they do, I'll do. You'll eat this? Yes, we will eat this. We will buy you this? We'll buy you this. This is the t-shirt you're going to wear. That's the t-shirt I'm going to wear. And so that you grow up with that kind of behavior, Hicham, and it just every time something like that happens, it just reinforces the idea that your opinion does not matter, your voice doesn't matter, although nobody tells you that, but it just at the conclusion, at least in my case. And so what happens is that you go into high school or you go into middle school, and now you start moving from childhood into teenage years, and you start forming groups, and you have to be part of groups to feel to belong. You don't want to be the odd one in the class.
That would be hard.
Yeah. So you start forming, and so as you are part of a group of 4 or 5 kids, you sort of have to talk, you sort of have to communicate, you sort of have to make a decision about do you want to do this or you want to do that. And I was always the one who says, okay, whatever everybody wants, But inside me, there was always a voice that said, no, you have to say what you want. You have to express it. But I didn't know how to. No, we never taught how to communicate or how to express your feelings or how to express your opinions. And obviously, the more questions I had, the more anger I had. And the more repressed emotions I had. And so when they become repressed, they just becomes too complex to understand, especially for a 15 or 16 years old. And so I hit the university years, and of course, then you're almost expected to be able to communicate on your own as you're an adult. You're not a young man. You're a young man going into full adulthood. And so you're expected to speak with the professors, because at the end of the day, after the 4th year, you have to present your thesis in front of a panel of professors. So you have to speak. You have to have that. So that's the expectation. But expectation is one thing, but what's going on in the head was another thing. So what broke this whole thing for me was an incident in the second year. Second or third year, I'm still trying to remember, second or third year of university, where the professor of English literature said, next week we are going to start studying the romantic era of English literature. So we're going to study about why it started, some of the famous writers, what are the themes, what is the philosophy behind this, who wants to present about it? And
hello.
I raised my hand, and nobody raised their hand. I don't know why I raised my hand, Hicham. I have no idea how. What happened to me is as if it was a completely different person. I was overtaken by an alien power. It's literally moving. I was just a puppet. Just raise your hand. Okay, I raised my hand. And I said, Hicham, great, thank you for volunteering.
Now you got to deliver.
And I'll see you next week.
Ooh.
And so she wrapped her stuff, she left, everybody's leaving, and I'm staying there. And now the alien power has left, and now I am back to planet Earth.
you hit the reality. Like, what the hell did you do?
And now,
what did I do?
And now I am thinking in 7 days or 6 days, I'm going to have to stand in front of about I think 150 people to present. For the first time in my life.
So you don't do it, and the day you do it with a whole bunch of people. Crazy.
So usually I take a bus to go back home from university at the day. Because of the stress I had, I decided to walk. I think I needed to breathe. Usually the bus is very full of people, and I couldn't take that, so I said I just to walk. So basically, I am walking back home, and you could imagine all hell broke loose. Negative ideas, all the imagining all the bad scenarios are gonna take place, everything unimaginable. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. My family thought I was sick.
Anxiety, that's what it is.
Yeah, and interestingly, I still face clients who are much older than when I was, and they still felt it. The moment they receive an invitation, Hicham, to a speech or a presentation, they tell me, Hicham, I hate the fact that I lose appetite for 3 or 4 days. Please help. And I completely understand them. I plug into that energy, Hicham, because I've been there. I know what happened to me that week. It's a week that I lived, but I think I didn't live it. I was there, but I was not there. But I had to prepare. So I poured all of my energy into old school research and books. That time there was no
Libraries.
Google. Libraries? Library. Only one library.
Oh, one. Okay.
One library. Got all the books that I could get my hands on, put them back home, and I just started to read and take notes and prepare. And then I was okay with the content. What I was not okay is the psychological and the delivery part. So the day of the presentation or the day of class comes, and I'm walking to university. I couldn't take the bus, and all I was doing is praying. I'm praying that the professor, she will not show up. She will call sick. Her car will break down. She has an emergency meeting with somebody. Anything and everything. Rain, but nothing of that happened. So I got to the class. I'm sitting there, still praying and hoping, and here she comes.
Oh, I'm sure your heart was pumping.
My heart
was like up here.
Was just pumping. I think people could literally see my heart, and my hands were sweating, and I just it was really just torture. It was just torture. So she comes in, full of energy. Good morning, everybody. Hicham, well, today you are the professor. I'm going to take your place. You take mine. Off you go.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, moment of truth, right? You prepared for it. Now you just got to do it.
Yeah, moment of truth. So I walked from my place to her desk with like a dead man walking, like the movie Dead Man Walking.
Zombie.
Yeah, it seemed forever. And I stood there, and I look at my note. I was still looking down, and all of a sudden, Hicham, something really, really happened. Something really interesting and weird and strange, and I still don't understand what it is until today. All of a sudden, I raised my head. I fixed my posture. I went to the blackboard and I drew 2 circles, and I said, "Today we're gonna talk about Romanticism, but this is in this circle. I'm going to tell you just the main themes of before Romanticism in the English literature, but we're going to focus more on the Romantic. And I'm going to tell you in bullet points why it happened, and what are the main themes, and what are the main writers." And off I went.
But
unhinged, unchecked, no issues, no sweating, no heart pump, just me speaking and delivering as if I was the professor. 15, 20 minutes, and it passed so fast. I was praying and hoping it never ends. I finished, everybody clapped, professor gave me great feedback. Well done, Hicham. She finished the class, and we finished the class and she left. I'm going back home. I am on cloud 9. I got the whole world in my hand. I can do it. My voice is out finally. Yeah.
That is a start. Well, again, folks watching right now and listening, and specifically for the youth, this is a big thing, because what you mentioned earlier, Hicham, about how we grew up. And by the way, it's not just you. I think all of us have that, especially coming from the background that we have. You're not encouraged to speak up. And I mean, our kids today are a lot more, I guess, verbal, and they can express themselves differently. But we didn't have that. Like you're always have to be respectful, shy, and stuff, and not talk. And by the way, I share exactly similar stuff with you, where I wasn't really the one that spoke much. It by default you have to do it eventually in life, but I didn't have the experience you had. But I'm sure at a point or another I've had it in the corporate world, by the way, and I can talk about that because we're gonna lean into that right now. Sure. In the corporate world, I had similar issues where, not issues, but like I was in sales, right? And actually the first time when I did present, big time was in Disney, because I was a tour guide. Yeah. So my job was literally to book people that walk in by, hey, come on, join us. And literally I say, folks, come on, we have a tour guide coming up in 10 minutes, join the tour. And so they come in, and you gather like about, 50, sometimes 100 people. And you got to be like literally entertaining. And it was just a little bit more casual, if you want to call it, as opposed to when you stand in front of an audience in front of you and doing a mass presentation. I mean, imagine the people that do TEDx talks now. I mean, how much work they have to do to actually do that. But that's it. So then say now, when I get into sales, now you're doing presentations. You know, you're assigned, you're going to do a presentation to a panel of social workers, because I was in insurance stuff, or, you know, comparing different agencies. So it was very difficult. So I can tell you, it's, by the way, what you said earlier about like everyone that you work with, they always have that nut here and they can't swallow and they feel like, you know, their heart is coming out of their throat. It happens to everybody. It's just that anxiety that's you know, because we're thinking about it. See, and by the way, I'm not the expert, so I'm going to ask you, like, is that really the truth? Like, because now after all your studies and the work you started doing over the years, did you find it that it was really just a hoax, something that you create yourself as a person? Is that what we do as humans? Or is that really a natural process that just happens? Your adrenaline kicks in because you are thinking about it. And if that's the case, what is the easy way to actually get out of it?
Yeah. Look, many times, Hicham, in workshops, in public speaking workshops, people ask me, some people are naturally born good communicators and some people are not. Is it true? And it's a myth. Everybody is born a good communicator. You can see kids around you, they all communicate in one way. Yes, sure, some are louder than the others, but in general, they do communicate their needs and they do communicate their feelings in a very clear and loud way for the parents to know what they're feeling. It's the environment that shapes how we communicate afterwards. It is that environment. And so yes, I do find it until today, people are still are fearful, are nervous, are scared from speaking in front of people. And because not everybody had the opportunity that I had, and the blessings, I would call it a blessing, to really feel yourself liberated, to be able to get out of that.
The bubble.
Yeah, it's an invisible bubble. And we create, and we are enforced with our feelings, we're enforced with our beliefs, we're enforced with each bad experience. We're like, you know what, you see, I knew it. But it is an invisible bubble. And you know what? It is an easy bubble to get out, but you really want to. You really want to get out of it. And so my experience with my clients, the ones who come and say, I am determined to learn this skill, they end up doing extremely well. Now, in terms of the nervousness, always. This is part of it. In fact, one day I asked a gentleman who has years and years of experience of public speaking. He's a public speaker, this is what he does. And he says, Hicham, look, you will always feel nervous. What happens is with time, you're aware of it, number one, so it does not scare you into inaction. Second, you start using that energy in order to create more positive energy to engage the audience. Third is that you learn how to... The reality, Hicham, is it takes you that first 90 seconds or 2 minutes with the audience. If you start well, and if you engage them and the energy is exchanged, that's it. The entire thing goes. No nervousnness.
So now let's talk about that. Like, that's the whole thing. There's a process to this. I mean, you obviously wrote the book, and we're going to talk about the book because there's something interesting about your book. The title itself is important. I mean, speak like a VIP, and we're going to talk about what that means because we all know VIP, very important person. That's not what you mean in this book. So we'll touch on that. But the idea, there's a process for, someone initiating the idea of speaking to delivering. And I love what you said. And again, I've trained classes and courses. And so as an instructor, whether in training, like, I used to do also real estate, I have a license to teach in New York. So, and so you have classes and you have these people in front of you. You stand in front of a crowd. And as you said, if you engage up front and it starts well, everything goes well. If you start wrong, now you're thinking about everything that's going wrong in that stuff, and you start stuttering. You're sweating. Things are not going good. You're looking at people, and they're looking at you like you have three heads, and it's just like that's it. You crash, right? So what we tell our people, around the world, whoever wants to get into real communication, better speaking. What are the steps? What can we do to, as you said, to get comfortable, as your top people stated?
The first step, Hicham, is to get intentional. You need to come to me when I don't work with anybody who comes because the boss told him, well, you have to become a good public speaker. Because these people, they come reluctant. And learning this skill, Hicham, it takes time. It takes effort and it takes energy. So as part of the coaching process, the most important part for me is that first discovery call we call or discovery meeting, where I would meet with Hicham. We're gonna just have a discussion, and as we are speaking, I'm assessing how responsible and how accountable he is going to take this, how much accountability he will have towards himself, because you're learning a new skill like anything else, whether it's writing or speaking or cooking or engineering or coding. Any skill that requires time and time, and and there is a learning curve. I mean, the learning curve, you start well and then it's easy and it gets difficult, so you go to the bottom, and then you persist a little bit, so you go up, and then the challenge gets a little bit more difficult and the advanced level, and then you go to the bottom, and it just goes like this. And so you want to be aware of that, and you want to be willing to be invested that whatever happens, you're going to show up to that process. So the first thing is you need to get intentional. Second thing, you need to understand the science of human communication, especially nowadays. Nowadays, there is something called attention span. And in order to get the audience to be attentive with you, you need to engage them. And there are certain techniques to engage them. Like in sales, I did a bit of sales studying at some point. And you know, there's a process. Breaking the ice, finding a rapport, you know. My favorite one is collect a series of yeses. Collect a series of yeses from the client, so that when you share your offer, no objections. And so there's a technique. I never heard of that before until I studied it, and that's what exactly public speaking is. There are a lot of certain techniques that you need to understand in order to really do well. And so understanding the power of your words, understanding the power of your tone, your voice tone, and what it does in order to engage or disengage an audience, and understanding the power of your body language. Our body speaks louder than our words.
Pictures worth 1,000 words, as they say, right?
Absolutely. Our bodies. If I tell you, I am happy to see you today, versus I am really
that was bad, man.
happy to see you today.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah, because I'm really happy to see you today. So I have to, if I mean it, I have to show it. If I don't show it, the audience is not going to read my mind. And so get intentional, learn the science of human communication, which is your number one job as a speaker, is to get people to be engaged with you. If they engage with you, or that they agree with your ideas, or they disagree, is irrelevant. You get their intent, you get their engagement, check. You have done a good job as a speaker. If they agree with you, or you're saying the most intelligent stuff in the world, but nobody is listening, X, you did not, as a public speaker. Maybe you're a good researcher, maybe you have 5 PhDs, maybe you're great at this, maybe you're great at that, but as a public speaker, in those 5, 7, 10 minutes, you did not achieve the intended result, which is to communicate your ideas and your feelings to an audience. And the audience is not going to receive if they're not connected. And so what we do is, the most important part of a speech I work with my clients is the beginning. And so sometimes we start with a story, sometimes we start with a question to the audience, a rhetorical question, or a question that requires the engagement of the audience. Sometimes we start with a shocking number. There are many techniques to start. Nowadays, a hook. And nowadays there are so many things. I mean, you just go on your LinkedIn or on Instagram, you'll find there's always something that you can and you connect it. You know, you connect it to your theme of the speech, and so now you got them. You got them in those first 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute.
Now you got to maintain.
And now you need to maintain. You need to do a maintenance every now and then. And so one of the things that we work on after that is we need to have a laser focused, very sharp message. And the question I put to my clients is, so when you finish this speech, what do you want me to think about or to live with? And you know, Hicham, nice. This is a question that seems easy, but it's not easy for a lot of people. And so they get the pen and they start writing, and now they have a page and a half. Nobody is going to remember a message of a page. It has to be 10 words or less, and otherwise nobody is going to remember, because there's a lot of traffic of information. We are in the age of information. And there's, so my ideal message is 3 to 4 words, something that people can, yes we can type of thing. You know,
It works.
it will go down into history as one of the best, I think, campaign lines. Yes, we can. It's 3. It's easy to remember. I don't need to make an effort to remember it. I don't need to recall it. My brain doesn't need to spend 1 gram of energy to recall it. It's just there because it's easy and it has to be repeated so much.
Just do it, Nike.
Yeah, just do it. And so now you got there and you got them engaged. Now you shared them why you're speaking, what is your main point, and now you want to reinforce those main points, and you don't want to reinforce them with 15 points, just 3 points, the magic number. There is a reason why our brain loves 3 and 7, 3 and 7. So, but you don't want to do 7. 7 is a lot. So unless you're a keynote speech and they expect you to speak for 30 minutes, but in majority of the time, I advise my clients never to speak more than 5 to 7 minutes, unless there is a compelling reason to do so.
Or like academic stuff, like where you're teaching something. Yeah,
absolutely. Because again, at the end of the day, public speaking is a sort of a branding. You know, and if you come here, no matter what your title is, and you come and you bore the audience to death, that's not good for your brand.
Yeah, we're on you. I mean,
that is not good for your brand.
So Hicham, just on that note, because I want to share this, because this could happen, and there are a few things that can affect somebody's ability to communicate sometimes, and you can be good at it, right? You practice, you do it enough. But this happened to me personally. I don't like, for example, I never liked when I was summoned to do a presentation without me being the one kind of like preparing for it, like me and knowing what I'm, like they did, like especially in the business world, like, oh, somebody doesn't show up, hey Hicham, you good at it, let's do it. And you just like, I mean, I can do impromptu stuff, I can just improvise, right, in and out. But when you're talking about technical stuff, right, and maybe that's not your expertise, you know some but not enough, it becomes literally difficult. And so it happened to me once where I was literally put in this predicament that I had to present. It was disastrous, man. It's like, and you know when it's bad. I mean, really, you know that 5 minutes was like, you know, it felt like 2 hours. You know, everybody's looking at you, you know, did their eyes like, you know, like, oh, everybody got lost. And you just stand there like a zombie, and you got to do it because you have to deliver it. And that's exactly, I believe it or not, one of the stories about, you know, why I started this whole media thing is because I had the challenge one time with one of my colleagues at work in a company, and she said that you couldn't do radio. Like, oh wow, like I wasn't able to do it because what happened, I selected someone who was good at presenting the product lines that we had, because to me, you present, you give people, like that's why we have spokespeople, right? You know, you have a spokesperson for the government, you have a spokesperson so you assign people that do this stuff. Now those are the people that do the public speaking in general, and so they have that, you know, public relations folks, right? And so in this case, you know, I gave somebody, but somebody challenged me and says, oh, because you can't do it. Oh, that was like a challenge. And so that's kind of how it started, because I wanted like to prove it. But it does happen where you can get into this position of not being comfortable being put into a position. Now, as you said, with techniques, with stuff, you can, of course, that was a learning curve for me too. Like, you know, then I realized how to do it, you know, for whatever reason. If it ever happens again, I have different ways to do it and kind of do the political way. And you, like you talk, but you didn't say anything. So again, no offense, politicians, but that's how it's done in politics, right? You give them a question, they go around it and between it, but they never give you a straight answer. But that's how it is. So I was able to kind of strategically work those things, but it was very brutal for me as an experience, as you said. Like that's where like the worst, you know, experience as a public speaker. Now, you get them engaged, you get them to really get back the audience, and they deliver. I love what you said about 7 minutes, 10 minutes. You know, strong, powerful. You know, hit the points, boom, boom, boom. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. They go on and on and on and on.
They tend to overshare, and that's where people get you lose the people. And nowadays, our attention span is 8 seconds.
Literally.
In 2012, it was about 13.5 seconds. So now we are less than the goldfish.
We're Nemo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
so I'm just thinking in 6 years, I don't know, maybe it will be, there's no attention span at all. So no more public speaking.
Is there a reason for that though?
Is the phone.
Distraction.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's so much distraction, and the phone, even if you don't do work, even if you're retired, and you have the phone in your hand for 5-6 hours, imagine the amount of information and data that crosses your mind. So what happens to our brain? As a mechanism of survival and protection, our brain is made mainly to protect us and for survival. So it's, imagine our brain like a computer hard disk. It can only take this much information on a daily basis. So the moment it gets closer to there's no more space, it just basically blocks anything that comes in and out. And this is why if you come in home around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. and the family wants to have a discussion with you or somebody, I can't leave. Let's leave it to the morning. The reason we leave it to the morning is at night, our brain, as part exactly, it assesses which information it will leave for you to recall in the morning, and which information it will send back to our subconscious mind. And the reason it sends it back to subconscious mind because it needs to free more space for you for another day. The information that stays in your conscious mind the moment you open your eyes and you recall it are things that have been repeated for you the day before. And so one of the techniques we do in public speaking and understanding in human communication science is that you cannot say, well, my message to you today is that it is important to work consistently to achieve results. If you say it only once in a speech, nobody is going to remember that. Absolutely not. You know why? Because there's so many competing information with so much competing information with in the audience's brain. So you want to do your introduction, share your main message, support it with three sub messages that have facts and stories and anecdotes. And as you are with every sub message, you are repeating it, or you're saying it differently, but you're saying the spirit of the message, and then you come to the conclusion. But you're checking. And now this is the advanced level. So let's finish this part and then we talk about the advanced level. And then you get to the conclusion and then you want to leave them. This is like you go into the restaurant and you want the sweet part, the dessert part is actually the most important part. Because this is the thing they're going to talk about as they are going to the car. Once they finish the meal. Oh, that was a great meal. Or that was, okay.
The sweets.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And they like the salad or the appetizer. They like the main meal, but the sweet was not good. The whole thing goes bunker.
Isn't that something? We always remember the last thing.
It is what it is. And I learned that at Disney, by the way. I learned that everything has to be, the process has to be perfected. From the moment you greet them until you see them out, it has to be perfected. And that's how you create an experience. And this is why Disney is famous for creating an experience, and they call them guests.
Magic,
the magic experience. Yeah. And so now you got to the conclusion. The audience is there, is waiting for you to finish, and so you want to finish with something memorable. So usually it's a call to action, a CTA, a story, a quote, something that's going to reinforce your main message, and you end. So. Yeah, so that's basically the journey of a speech. Now that's in terms of the delivery of the speech. So what I do with the clients is the ones who don't have the confidence, or they have the shine that they used to have when I was in high school, or they are very nervous and scared. So during the preparation, we don't prepare the speech the first time, as we work on the mental stuff. We do mental preparation.
Well, that's important.
And as you know, Hicham, as mental preparation is more important than even the physical preparation. I know football teams now, they will spend more time, or at least equal time, on the mental preparation than on the pitch training. And whether it's basketball team or football team or any other teams, they will spend, because they understand the power of the brain. When you do something and you repeat it in your brain, there is a high chance that you will be able to do it in real life. And so we stay with that with the clients. We stay with the rehearsal and the mental preparation, and you want them to close their eyes and to see themselves going on that stage, and how they're going to open, and how they see the audience's faces, and how they interact with their engagement, and how they will switch from there to their main point, and how they deliver and how they go back. They literally, it's like a movie. They see the entire movie, except that they are the director. And now here's the interesting part about that. We all see that movie. We all see that movie.
We all have it.
Before a presentation or speech, everybody sees that movies. There is only the difference between a professional speaker or somebody who has trained, especially the way I train my clients going into the matter, is a professional speaker is actively directing that movie. Actively involved and intentionally involved in directing a movie, and not letting it get out of control. an untrained or unprofessional, not professional speaker, they are letting the movie be created by their emotions.
And therefore they get overwhelmed.
Therefore they get overwhelmed. Oh my God, the CEO is gonna be there, the vice chairperson is gonna be there, that person, that guy, and so as a result of that fear, they start creating scenarios, and that scenario is a movie, and they start seeing themselves doing something wrong, not saying the wrong thing. They start something having difficulties and nervousness, and guess what happens when they go on stage or they go in front of the boardroom? What happens?
They flunk it.
Because they have created that movie in their head. And so what we do is we actively create a different movie. And this is something we do, whether it's applicable, whether it's public speaking or life in general or other situation.
But the difference is because you're consciously thinking about it, you start really kind of veering towards that, and which is not a good piece for you. Now, is it true, this is just, you're the expert, is it true that people have to literally stand in front of the audience and kind of blank them out, or maybe look at them? Because I've read.
I've heard all of kind of things. Some of them are funny. Some of them we should not speak in the camera.
I know. Yeah, they say like see them in a particular way to kind of.
Or look at the forehead. The most famous one is look at their foreheads, and to me, it's okay if you want to go that route, but that is a route that is avoiding the route. That is a route, or that is a path that is avoiding the root cause of the issue, which is that you are unable to make eye contact with other human beings. And so this is the natural thing, is for us to be able to make eye contact with other human beings. If we're unable to do that, there's something wrong with your software. And this is where I come in.
I like that.
I come in with the software check. Why are you unable to make contact with other human beings? I'll tell you why. Because of 4 main fears. And the number one fear of public speaking is not actually fear of public speaking, it's fear of judgment and fear of embarrassment.
Because you're always thinking about what did they think? Am I good? I don't know my stuff.
And it's valid. I am not saying it's not valid. It is valid. Of course, if you go and you deliver 4 or 5 presentations in a very bad way in your office, then they're not going to give you the promotion that will make you have to speak in front of the boardroom or other senior clients. I completely understand that fear, but we don't let fear control our lives. We can discuss with it. We can have a conversation where it's coming from, and thankfully nowadays knowledge is not an issue. You don't need to go to some expensive therapist or something unless you have an issue. That's a disclaimer, by the way. But if it is just at least for general awareness, and you can just type on YouTube or get my book or anything.
Well, so let's talk about this.
The first part, literally, it takes you into an inward journey to understand which fear you have, first of all. And I said for them. So fear of judgment, fear of failure is the second fear. The third one is going to surprise you. Fear of success.
Seriously?
Yeah. It surprised me. I never understood it. It exists, but I never understood it because I never felt it. To a certain extent, I did actually felt it.
Well, because success is scary?
Few people I worked with, they said, if I do well in media interviews, if I do well in my speeches, then it means they're going to give me more responsibilities. That means I'm going to have less privacy. This means I'm going to have less time for myself and my family. I don't want that. I don't want the spotlight. And they didn't link it. So they were just running away from it, and they make them nervous. And so in an indirect way, unconscious way, they sabotage themselves when they speak, just in order not to get to a position where they have. The fourth one is the imposter syndrome, which basically, which is an amazing thing, because it only happens to brilliant people. People who are brilliant, who have worked hard to be what they are, and they feel like they feel that they are imposter, that they feel like a fraud, that they are not, where they're not the right person to be invited to that panel or to that interview.
So they lack confidence in their own ability?
They minimize their achievement.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's the 4 fears. And so in the first part of my book, and because of my experience and because of the approach I learned, I dedicate the entire first part into a 21 days exercises where it's a deep dive on who you are. It's you say hello to yourself. Whatever your age you are, you're gonna meet yourself again. Yeah. And so and it takes you to understand your communication style, your fears, your weaknesses, your strength. You're shy, you're not shy. If you're shy, why? You need to know which fear of the 4 I mentioned earlier, which 4 you score, and you go deep down that fear. And so basically, a lot of the readers who have already read the book, they said this process, and from my clients' experience, this process just helps them to uncover that invisible bubble we spoke about earlier, Hicham. And now they are aware of it.
The visual is there.
Now they're aware of it, and that's a happy day when we get to that breakthrough with a client. Now I am aware that there is an invisible bubble, but at least now I see it. So it's not invisible anymore. Now it's visible for me. All I need to do is to take it off, and that's the intentional part of learning the skill, and that's the second part. And in the second part, I take you into a journey from how to write a speech to how to start, how to prepare physically and mentally, and how to engage the audience. It's very, very practical book. Not a lot of theory, a lot of practice.
So Hicham, I have not read it. I've actually started reading, believe it or not, because I just got it. And I was already impressed just by reading the couple of pages that I did there. And I can tell you this, for me, we're not supposed to judge books by their cover, as they say. I actually judge this book by the cover just by default, because reading the title, getting a little bit of just an introduction to it. And what I found is that this is not just a book to read, as casual. This is a resource book. This is actually a guide. This is something that can help people. If they work with you, that's one thing. But even if they don't have you physically with them, this can actually help them get through the process of engaging. So this could be, to me, this would be good in a corporate space. If you're, for example, for salespeople, right, we present all the time. This would be a book that I recommend to my teams, for example, to have, or learning development, departments to actually have when they want to train their people that are engaging with people. I mean, doctors when they present, all the different people that are actually in some sort of a public, position. This could be, and by the way, even not, because I think oftentimes, as you said, we all have something. So this is like a must-have book, and so I actually. Literally, I endorse it just by default, just because I know what the value of it, and just based on the discussion we have. But something interesting about this, that VIP thing.
Yes.
Because, everybody knows, are you a VIP? I mean, I want to treat you. By the way, everybody's a VIP. But your VIP means something different. So let's talk about that.
Everybody's a VIP. And to me, every voice is important. Every human voice is important. And every human voice has the right to express itself, and to express its opinion freely, and share what it feels, share what they think about the world. And you know what, the world will be, I believe, the world will be much better if we have more people voicing their opinions, because people have a lot of beautiful things to say, and a lot of beautiful stories. And so when I started the training public speaking in the UAE and in this part of the world, for some reason or the other, most of the clients that I was working with are VIPs or VVIPs. At the royal level, at the C-suite level, and it just like one thing led to the other. It was not by design. It was not planned. It was just one thing led to the other, and I think people they feel the sincerity I bring to the table every time I sit with somebody who says, I need to learn this. This is important for me, because I've been there. I've been to that journey. I know what it means to be in a state of powerlessness. When you have so much to say, but you're unable to say it. It's a state of powerlessness. And so my job is to take them from a state of powerlessness into a state of being powerful. And they claim that power. Not being powerful to the outside, but being powerful inside, to really get in touch with their own power. And each one of us, Hicham, has their own power. It starts with your own story. That's the source of your story. Your story, you know what? How many people have your story? Only one person, and that's me. Nobody. There's 8 billion people in the world. There's 7 point something. There's only one person who has your story, and that's a power nobody can take away from you, and you can share that in a speech. And so the VIP. Sorry. No,
just because we're coming at the end of the show here, so I want to make sure that we get.
I will touch the VIP.
Yeah, please hit that.
So VIP is a very important person, but in this book, it's a very inspiring presenter.
And that's so powerful. I mean, that's about what I said. You don't have to read the whole book. You start there and you're already like hooked. That's a big one.
But also, it's very inspired. Person. Yeah. So it hits both notes. If I cannot inspire you if I'm not inspired with my content, with my story, whether my story, professional story or personal story, I cannot inspire.
Believe.
So I need to be inspired with what I have. I need to be inspired with the words that I'm preparing to present to you in the boardroom or in an amphitheater or in a coffee shop, in order for me to inspire you. No inspiration, no conviction, no personality, no energy, no impact. Yeah, you're gonna listen to me, no impact. The delivery, it will be there, but
the
did it
impact.
land or not? Without that conviction, without that inspiration, the internal one, it will not happen. And so a very inspired presenter and the reason I when I speak to my clients about it is that you have to take it as a responsibility. Every time you open your mouth and you speak, your words carry energy, and they create an entire climate in people's hearts and minds. And so you need to be convinced with what you're saying for your words to matter. Otherwise, they're just words. They come and it's like pop up in the air and nobody feels anything.
You know, Hicham, I think we're gonna have to do this show again. I mean, we have a lot more to cover here. I mean, you got so much to offer to us here. But certainly, I mean, it's been a terrific hour. I mean, I've learned quite a bit right here, and I'm still gonna read the book, and I definitely will actually suggest the book to anyone that actually in business or they have some sort of a ability to actually share in public any type of discussion. And but I always ask people, you know, at the end of the show is. Any last words of wisdom that you want to give to audiences in general, and this particular show, because it is the Morocco channel, specifically the
Yes.
for our youth, what would you tell them about their path and specifically, I guess, using public speaking as a tool in their life?
Yeah. To the Moroccan youth, I would say, be confident in yourself.
Powerful.
Be confident. Morocco is a country that has a lot of roots. It's very grounded. It has history. You need to tap into that energy and feel your roots so that you can go out, whether you're in Morocco or anywhere else in the world, and show that and show that beauty. So that's to the Moroccan youth. To people in general, learn public speaking and thank me later. It will help you even in your health. And I will tell you in a second why I'm saying this. It will help you health-wise. It will help you in your career. It will help you in your financials. It's just a beautiful, massively beautiful skill, an important skill to learn. I was recently watching a neuroscientist, and he says, at old age, or as we approach old age, most of the sicknesses, they come from bottled emotions, unexpressed emotions.
They're just deep there, covered.
Yeah, there are energy.
Yeah.
They are imprisoned inside
it's
your
like you just
cells, inside your blood, inside your muscles.
Building pressure.
And they need air. They need to go out. And so he says most of the common old sicknesses, be it inflammation, arthritis, and all of those annoying things, are a result of unsolved emotional issues, unexpressed opinions, and unexpressed emotions. And so learn it. If it's not for your financial advancement, and if it's not to share something beautiful in this world, learn it for your own health. But I can guarantee you, once you learn it, you are going to have many opportunities where you'll be invited to share your beautiful story, your core story. And if you inspire one person to live this life in a better way, if you inspire yourself, you don't need to inspire other people. If you inspire yourself and you live to the full of your potential, definitely you inspire other people. And that's the trace you leave.
Well, you know, Hicham, I'm listening to you, right? So there's a couple of things just, and I'm wrapping up right now. So one thing.
I don't think we're going to wrap up today.
We're going to,
yeah,
we're going to have to do a part 2, yeah.
H and H.
But no, seriously, this is important because you touch on, you said how it impacts the health, right?
Yeah.
And actually, if you watch any of some previous shows, because people say like, why you have multiple channels, different things, they all touch health. So we start a business, it affects this because, as you said, the mind, the body, it's all connected. If you have suppressed, emotions, that's going to help you, not be healthy and stuff, cause all these detrimentals. So it is amazing how you turned that all the way back and confirmed this. It is a big deal, So anyways, I mean, you're right. We can be here for another hour easily, but certainly, Hicham, I want to thank you for really joining, this discussion and bringing your insights and really wisdom and years of expertise in this particular, area of really engaging and human contact, if you want to call it that, because that's what it is. This is really being in touch with other people and how to do it with yourself first and the rest. I mean, I've learned a bit just in this hour, and I always say I'm the first customer client of my own show. So this is actually, true here. So I learned that. And of course, the book. Two things. Where can people get the book? And also, how can they get in touch with you?
Amazon.com or amazon.co.uk. It's available most in Amazons, but Amazon.com is there on a Kindle format and on paperback. I am still thinking to make it an audiobook.
Nice.
It's just the time, honestly. It's just a time investment. And how they can touch with me on Instagram. I'll leave my handle: Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok.
That's it.
And I'm there.
All right. Well, so I will have actually the link to
Yes.
your book as well as to your Instagram and social media in the description of the show, so people can actually get in touch with you. I'm certainly gonna have this copy to myself, and we're gonna have to sign that thing,
Of course.
and then certainly we'll have it, available. I'll be reading it and I'll be sharing the value, and of course I'll be even using it with teams, as I see fit, where, in some of the corporate, spaces over the US. So hopefully, we'll see a lot of impact with it. So Hicham, thank you so much for being
My
with
pleasure.
us.
Thank you for having me, Sham.
Thank you. Pleasure, man.